easy to catch up. Well, good morning. We're on Daf Chof Zayin Amud Beis by the Mishnah near the bottom. We're learning as a schosser for Shleimus Ilana Chaya Bach. Also learning as in the Leif and Neshama of Shleima Abba ben David. The Mishnah says, Hashoicheres has Zevach lizrik dam b'chutz and mixes dam b'chutz lahak de'emura b'chutz and mixes de'emura b'chutz lechal b'sar b'chutz k'zayis b'sar b'chutz lechazayis me'ara aliyah b'chutz. The Mishnah says what the Mishnah is talking about over here. It doesn't say it so directly, so we have to set the stage. We're talking about the din of pigul and chutzlum kaimeh that we've mentioned a number of times. And one of the things we've said whenever we talked about pigul, we said is if you have a machshava to do the consumption of a part of the carbon, chutz l'zmani is pigul, chutzlum kaimeh is going to be chutzlum kaimeh, chutz l'zmani, pigul is karas, chutzlum kaimeh is also going to be pasul, but it's not going to be karas. The karas is, of course, if you eat the basar of that carbon. But we keep on talking about the consumption of the carbon. Now this Mishnah is giving us the details of what that consumption of the carbon is. Good morning. We're on the Mishnah on the bottom of Chav Zayin Amud Beis. We're talking about pigul and chutzlum kaimai, and this is something that we mentioned. Like I was just saying, we mentioned a number of times that when we talk about the psul of pigul and the chiv karas of pigul, pigul and chutzlum kaimai take place when a kayin, when he's doing an avodah, has a machshava to consume the carbon. Let's stick to pigul for now, and he has a machshava to do it outside of the proper zman. So now this Mishnah defines what are those different consumptions that will trigger a chutz l'zman, a pigul machshava. So it says hashoichet is a zevach lizrik damay b'chutz, and he has in mind that he's going to be zarik the dam. The zrikas dam is a consumption of the dam. That's the way you use the dam. Part of the dam gets thrown on the mizbeach, or it's put on the mizbeach. So a mixes dam b'chutz means instead of doing it on the mizbeach, he wants to do it outside of the Beis Hamikdash. A mixes dam b'chutz doesn't have to be all of the dam. It could even be a portion of the dam. Lahatir emurav b'chutz. He wants to take the emurim, which are the fats that are supposed to be burned on the mizbeach. Again, a little recap that most karbanos, we're sticking to the animal karbanos, I think they all have an asinas dam, and then it subdivides. You have a oila that everything that's left gets burnt on top, gets burnt. Some of it on the mizbeach. I think all of it gets burnt on the mizbeach. Then you have a chatas, where the imurim, the fats, get burned on the mizbeach, and then you have the karev and kra'ayim, I think get burned on the mizbeach, and then you have other parts of the kaihanim. The basar gets eaten by the kaihanim, and then you have a shlomim, where a little bit goes to the kaihanim to eat, a lot of the basar goes to the rest of the basar goes to the bayim to eat, but you still have chaylev that gets burnt on the mizbeach, and that's the emurim. So that emurim, its consumption is being burnt on the mizbeach. So mixes, even part of the emurim, he has in mind to do it b'chutz. Lechol b'sari b'chutz. This means the basar that the kahanim eat by a chatas, or that the bailim eat by a shlamim, all the leftover basar gets eaten. So if he has in mind to have that achila outside of the proper place, a kazayis mibsari l'chutz, or even just the kazayis, doesn't have to be the whole basar. Oy lechol kazayis mehara aliyah b'chutz. The Gemara is going to go deep into this. This is the aliyah of a sheep. The aliyah is the tail. The fats inside the tail of a sheep is considered part of the emurim that has to be burnt. In addition to that, there's some of the leather, some of the skin of the animal by the tail is considered very soft that's very soft skin, and as we're going to see, Gemara is going to talk about it's either considered like the fats or it's considered like the basar of the behemoth. It's not like regular skin of the behemoth that's given as a gift to the Kehanim, but rather it's considered either like the fats, the chalavim that get burnt, or like the basar that is eaten by the owner. So all these things, pasul ve'ein beikaros. If you had these machshavas on one of these types of consumption of the different parts of the carbon, and you have in mind to do it outside of the proper place, then it's going to be pasul. It's considered a chutzlum kaimai. There's no karos. It's not pigel. Now we're going to state the whole thing over again, but with the machshava of chutz lazmane, which is machshavas pigel. Lizrik damai lamachar, mixes damai lamachar, lahakte emur lamachar, mixes emur lamachar, lechel psar lamachar, exais psar lamachar, lechel kazais me'ar al lamachar, pigel. Then in that case, it's the same exact thing, the same consumption, but chutz lazmane. Then it is a dim pigel, and if you're going to eat the basar of such an animal, there's going to be a chi of pigel on it. There's going to be a chi of karos. The carbon is pasul, and if you finish the whole carbon and then you go and you eat the basar, there's going to be a chi of karos. Now, first the Gemara is going to deal with this ara aliyah. Zakmar savrua, ara aliyah. Excuse me. Aliyah dummy. The Gemara says it appears that the ara aliyah is like the Gemara's assumption is that the ara aliyah, this skin underneath the tail, has treated the same as the aliyah itself, meaning that it's going to be like a chelev. It's going to be something that requires that should be burnt on the mizbech. Let's see the Rashi. Ka'aliyah dameh v'afilu ein aktara u'b'shalmei kevesh she'aliyasei kreva nami ha'arkar. The aliyah of the keves, like we said, this is limited specifically that you have this din that the aliyah, the fats of the tail get brought as a murim. That's only by a sheep. This R will have the same thing. Just like the gabi, we're going to talk about that this is a fat and it's not basa, but we're treating it like basa. Okay. How could you say that you're going to be chayiv? It's going to be chutzlum kaimai and it's going to be chutzlazmani and pigel, but he's not having a machshava on to eat something that's supposed to be eaten. He's been having a machshava to eat something that's supposed to be brought on the mizbeach. So that shouldn't be that should not be pasul. It should not be a machshava that pasels the carbon. So Gemara Mani Rebel he holds, no, it's not a problem. He holds that taka, when you have a machshavas, chutzlum zmani or chutzlum kaimei, to plan to eat something that's supposed to go on the mizbeach, that is considered a machshavas, a machshava, to passel and to be mechayiv you a karas.
Why is it any different than the imurim?
No, we're saying it's, he said, Rebbe Lezer holds that imurim will be the same thing. If you have machshava to eat the imurim, according to Rebbe Eliezer, you'd also be chayiv. This is his sheet.
In our Mishnah, we said right? That was one of the cases.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, why are we only asking about the aliyah?
We're talking about the ara aliyah. We're saying a chiddush about this ara aliyah. It's not clear. The ara aliyah is it's a chiddush to say that that's considered part of the imurim. We're gonna have the whole amid talking about what the status of the ara aliyah is. Is it like imurim? Is it like basar? Or is it even like it's clearly not? But then, one would have thought the chiddush is it's ar. Ar generally is neither. It's neither basar nor imurim. So our first stab at this, or the first shita, is that it has the same status as the aliyah itself, which is a murim, and it will also be a murim. But then you have a problem Why does it possible if you have in the Mishnah it says lahaktir emurim b'chutz. Now we're talking about lechol the ara aliyah. So that's the kasha. Why is achilas? If you say lechol emurim b'chutz, the pashas that shouldn't be a machshava to passel. So we're saying no. We're going like Rabbi Eliezer holds it does passel, and we have a Mishnah. It's not. Hashoicheres hazevach lechol davar she'en darcha lechol lahaktir davar she'en darcha lahaktir. If someone shechs a carbon and he has in mind to eat something that's not supposed to be eaten, which is a reference to this exact thing. He has in mind to eat something that's supposed to be huktar, it's supposed to be burnt on the mizbech, or lahaktir davar she'en darcha lahaktir. He has in mind to be makter something that's supposed to be eaten. He has in mind to the basar of the behemoth that, let's say, in a shlamim that's supposed to be eaten by the bailim. He has in mind, and he has in mind to be makter it chutz l'zmane. So kosher, it's kosher according to the Tanakama. Like we said, he's being machasha me'achilas be'ach l'achilas adam, or vice versa. Well, that's a paisel. Well, that's apostles. So that's the way we're going to understand our Mishnah.
So Pigel, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
Pigel, this is the first Mishnah we have on Pigel?
I feel like we've referenced Pigel. But this is where we're getting into this specific din of like we said, we've always like sort of glossed over. We use that expression, things that are consumed. You have a machshava, you're thinking about something, and the next element is going to be the pasuk, which is going to teach us all the different parts. But you have a machshava to pigel. We say pigel all the time, but it's also chutz v'kaim is part of this same grouping. So either to have in mind to eat or to consume something in the wrong time or in the wrong place.
Got it. So normally it's if it's an eating thing, it's an eating thing. If it's a burning thing, it's a burning thing. This is the first thing. So I'm saying I'm just trying to understand, if we're saying the tail or the fat, the leather, the or of the tail, like the tail itself, then the Mishnah is hard to understand because it says that you're either going to have a problem of either pigel, karas, or it's going to be puzzle of ain't karas.
Yeah.
In the scenario where you should have eaten it,
the proper thing to do would have been to burn it, and you had in mind to eat it.
That's not
in the wrong place.
That's not. But which says that's as much of a problem as eating and eating.
Well, it's a machlekes. So we bring it's a machlekes. The Tanakama says, Taka, you did it. You messed, like the Kayin, the idiot Kayin, messed up. Is messing up. He didn't even mess up properly. He was trying to do, for some reason, a machshavas pigel, and he didn't even do it right. He had him in mind to eat something that was going to anyway be hooked. The Tanakama says that's not a machshava of psul. Rabbi says it does. So that's the way we'll understand our Mishnah. So we're understanding our Mishnah over here like Rabbi Eliezer. Aim a Sefer. I'll ask you from the Sefer, which is the Mishnah in another couple of blot. Zeh klal, where it says a klal. Kol hashoichet enu shechs v'hamakabel. There's the Kabbalah v'hamoilech v'azorik. The four avodas hadam. Lechol dover shadacha lechol lahakter dover shadacha lahakter. So the Mishnah says very specifically the exact opposite of the lashon of that Rebbe Eliezer just held. We just said that Rebbe Eliezer says even lechol davar shadaka lahakter or lahakter davar shaladaka lechol, but then this Mishnah on Daf Chav Tes says if you do one of the avodas lechol davar shadaka lechol, to do only to eat something that's supposed to be eaten, or to be marked something that's supposed to be hukta. Davar shadaka lechol in she'en daka lechol loy aten l'rabbanan. So the Mishnah in our parak, the next Mishnah in our parak, seems to say the shita of the Rabbanan. So how can we say our Mishnah was Rabbi Eliezer, and then the next Mishnah is the Rabbanan? Reish Rabbi Eliezer, v'sefer Rabbanan, Amalein says, yeah, that's the way it's got to be. There's two separate Mishnayos that come out with different shitas. Our Mishnah is Rabbi Eliezer. The following Mishnah, which says only davar shadaka lechel, is going to be the Rabbanan. That was Shmuel's. That was Shmuel's shita of how to understand our Mishnah. Rav Huna Amar, Ar Alya lav ka'alya dami. It's not like it's not like the chaylev. It's like basar. It's like regular basar of the behemoth. Amar Rava. Rava says, my time of the Rav Huna. Why does Rav Huna take a hold like this? L'chayra, it's part of the aliyah. If you say that it's not the skin, so then it should be like the aliyah. It should be chaylev like the aliyah. So tomorrow, aliyah. He makes a drasha. The Torah says, Vikram is Zevach Ishal Hashem chelva aliyah tmima. So Pashas chelva aliyah means the best part of the aliyah. But he darshans that chelva aliyah, only the actual chaylev of the aliyah is considered the aliyah, but not the or. The or is a separate entity, and it's going to be like the basar of the behemoth, not like the chaylev. So then, our lecha min our aliyah of the Mishnah is very understandable. We don't have to say it's going like Rebbe Eliezer. It's like regular basar, and therefore, if you have a machshava to eat it, chutz l'zmanai, it's going to be pig. Chutz l'mkaim, it's going to be possible. That's the second teretz. Rav Chizda Amar, the third teretz, la'olam har aliyah ka'aliyah dami. He says no, or aliyah is ka'aliyah dami. V'hacha b'mayaskin and ba'aliyah shel gedi. We're talking about a gedi. A gedi doesn't have this din that its aliyah gets burnt as a murim. The aliyah is considered like regular basar, so this aliyah, the or aliyah is like the aliyah of the gedi, and we're not talking about of a keves, so it doesn't get that status of a murim.
Sorry for I'm asking this question. Are
Yeah.
tails something you can eat? A tail of a kosher animal, a tail of a cow you can eat?
I guess I don't know about a cow.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm asking. I have no idea. It seems like we're saying right now that
It's treated as basar.
But normally you talk about the tail of the keves normally is like the murim and you burn it. But otherwise you eat it. If it's very lean, we just said in the previous Amira, you eat it.
I don't know if it would, my understanding is that, from my understanding of this Gemara, is that it's considered regular basar. Yeah. I don't know if it's edible. That's
what I'm trying to.
You mean say halachically edible?
It's new to me. Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah. What would you think would be chaylev?
And I went to flesh.
I mean,
so tail. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. It seems like I don't know. No, I have no idea. Okay, fine.
I don't know if there's a lot of meat in it. I assume it's not really a lot to eat.
I said I'm asking her.
Yeah, and certainly you never saw anyone eating the or. I think it's all or. I say so the Gemara is saying it's softer and it's edible, but it's not something like we would necessarily eat.
Okay.
Just because it's edible. Listen, you ever saw anyone eating heart of a cow?
No.
But it's definitely, I think it's pretty sure it's kosher. Just not something we would eat. Yeah. Maybe it's in some of our hot dogs and we don't know about it. I can't remember seeing that, right? Everything, putting everything but the hooks. So Zaktima, Kulu Kishmuel Layamri. So now we're going to go through all three shitas. Why did they say like the first sheet of Shmuel that Ara Alya is Ka'alya Dami? It's like Chalev, and we're holding like Rabbi Eliezer. They didn't want to raise Rabbi Eliezer say for Rabbanan Lai Mukmah. They didn't want to say that with that one Mishnah, the first Mishnah is Rabbi Eliezer, and the second one is the Rabban. Rav Huna Layamri. Rav Huna's teretz is he said Ar Alya Lav Ka'alya Dami, Ar Alya Ka'alya Dami Kamashmalu. They said the Mishnah, the pasuk says Chelva Ha'alya. That it sounds like that doesn't they didn't understand it to mean the chaylev of the aliyah. They understood it to mean the best part of the aliyah, the geshmaka part, and that would not exclude. It's only if it refers to the fats that excludes the skin. But if it just means chelvai, it's not excluding the skin. So they did not agree to that mashmayis, and therefore they believe the Ar Aliyah is treated like the Aliyah. Rav Chizda my time alayami. And as far as Rav Chizda, why don't we say it's saying that it's talking about the Ar of a Gedi, the Aliyah of a Gedi? My Kamashim, what is it telling you? Ar Aliyah ka Aliyah dami. It's coming to tell you this rule that the Ar of the Aliyah is treated like the Aliyah, that it's had that by a keves it's going to be chaylev, and by other animals it's going to be basa tnina. We already have a mission that tells you that. The elu sha'orei saying kivsara. these things, their skin is going to be like their basar. The din is that an avela is metama, has a din tuma, but that's on the basar. So there's some parts of the skin of the oir of an animal that are soft, which the Mishnah is about to list, are going to have the same din as the basar to be metama. It says, and this is what the oir of a behema can be metama, just like the basar. Oir shatachas alya. This oir that we've been talking about, the oir by the alya. So we already see, and Mishnah tells you that the oir is like the basar. But Rav Chizda itztrich. Rav Chizda says, no, we have to tell you this as well. Maybe that which we say that the oir aliyah is only legabi din tuma. The rochach mitzdarf. That since it's soft, it therefore is mitzdarf with the basar. If you have a half a kazayis of basar together with a half a kazayis of this soft skin, so you put it together. Aval hacha ema lemashcha. The Torah says legabi. What's the basar? I'm giving it to you. Lemashcha is something chosen. Legdula, which means that has to be something select, premium. Neither Menachem or Malachim eat such things. You're horrified. You'll try it one time. I'm sure it's been by some kiddush in Tom's River. They've served it. Yeah, it's on one of the platters. On a board. Yeah, but it's not the vices back then. The Malachim had a little more sense and did not eat such things, and therefore maybe it was excluded from being considered the basar legabi, a carbon being brought. Emaloi. Kamash once, that's what we have to tell you, even though we have a pasuk that says the Ar Aliyas, because the Aliyah, Lagabi Tuma, that they were not as selective, but maybe Lagabi a carbon were more selective, it would be excluded, Kamash Mala. Meisve. The Gemara asks on this sheet of Rav Chizda, Hashoichet is Sa'oilov, Lahakti Kazayis, Me'or Shatachas Aliyah. The Mishnah says, someone who shechs an oila. Now, an oila, the entire carbon gets burnt on the mizbech. It's not just the emur. And he has in mind he has in mind to do it from the or shatachas aliyah, this debatable or, and he has in mind to do a chutz l'mkoyme. Puzzle ve'em by karas. Chutz l'zmani pigel v'chayvel of karas. If you do it to be an oila, it's going to be puzzle. It's not going to be, and if it's chutz l'mkoyme, it'll be chutz l'mkoyme. If it's chutz l'zmani, it will be pigel. Elazar ben Yehuda ish avli oimer mishum Reb Yaakov. V'chein Reb Shimon Yehuda ish kvar ichos oimer mishum Reb Shimon. Echad or base parsos behema daka. That was not just the oir aliyah, but also the oir that covers on top of the hooves of a small behema. The echad oir haroy shel egel harach, as well as the skin, the leather, the hide of a young calf that is very soft skin on its head. As well as the or tachas aliyah, as well as whatever the chachamim were counted, legabi tuma, ve'elu she'er saying kivsaron, lahavi arshal beis haboishes, and as well as we said a general catch-all at the end. These that their iris are like the basar, which we say include the skin by the reproductive organs of a female animal, which is also soft. But now the Gemara gets its question. Oila in avos zevach loy. It's mashma that this is only oila in, that the oila is going to, because everything is burnt, including the basar. So if you had in mind, to be makter this, it's going to be chayav. It's going to be treated as chutzum kaimi and chutzum lizmane, but only oila. So bishlam Rav Huna, according to Rav Huna, we can understand hainu diktani oila, because Rav Huna said Or al yalav ka al yudam. It is treated like basa, so it would only be by your oila that you're going to be chayiv if you have in mind to be makter. Eller of chizda ma'ir yudtani oila lisni zevach. Even if you're a zevach, any carbon that gets brought as a murim. You could say we're talking about here bedafka the aliyah of a gedi, which is lekuliyam. It's not going to be considered chaylev. Or you have to change it. It doesn't mean oila. It means any carbon. They never meant to designate bedafka oila. Taka any carbon would have this. Okay, we're done with the ara aliyah. Now we're just going to we'll just get started a little bit with the actual pasuk that tells you the din of pigel and chutzlam kaim. Pasuk ve'en beikaris. We said chutzlam kaim pasuk ve'en beikaris and pigel yesh beikaris. Mino ani mil. Amar Shmuel. Trey kreiksi. There are two psukim that it says on this topic. Mahi. Amar Rava. So if you look on the side, the last two things, I have it as Gimel and Dalid. So the second to last one on the Amid is if he's going to eat from the basar of his shlomim on the third day, which is late, chutz lizmani, it's not going to be accepted. He's not going to be reckoned. It's going to be pigel. The person who eats from it will bear his iniquity. And that's the pasuk of Vayikra Zayin Yudches. And there's a very similar pasuk, a shorter version of it, later on in Kedoshim Tiyu, which is the next pasuk. And then the following pasuk over there says also Avoyne Tisa, and there's going to be Karas. So we dash. So first we dash the first pasuk. Amar Rabba Shlishi Zeu Chutz Lizmani. The pasuk says, that's a reference to eating it past the time. A shlom is only supposed to be in 2 days, not 3 days. So he's saying he has in mind to do it chutz lizmani. Pigel, and then the pasuk says pigel zel chutz l'mkayma.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Right, yeah. Last time your pigel was reversed, right? The pigel is chutz l'mkayma. Now pigel we always say is chutz lizmani. Now we're calling it chutz l'mkayma, like we saw in the Rashi before. And I think Rashi over here explains as well. Once we already said shlishi, which to tell you chutz lizmani, so now we have a second pasuk of pigel. Like Rashi says, pigel, the chsib b'sefer dekra, pigel yekar kra yiseri la'arbes chutz lizmani. It's an extra pasuk. We already said chutz lizmani. So then when it says pigel yeh, it's going to be no good. That's a reference to chutz l'mkayma. Then the pasuk continues by nefesh ha'cheles imenu. The nefesh who eats it, echad. We said he's going to get karis. Only one of the things we said. Oh, there's a lashon yachid. It's telling you one of the things we refer to in this pasuk is going to get the einish of karis, and the other one won't. Which, as we all well know, that's a reference. That means the pigel will get not the pigel that the way it's used in the pasuk, but the pigel that we always use it. I'm sorry, it's confusing. But what we call chutz lizmani, which we call pigel, that's going to have the chiyuv of karas, but chutz l'mkayma will not. Zeu chutz lizmani. Ulamutei chutz l'mkayma. It's telling you chutz lizmani gets karas, but chutz l'mkayma doesn't. Practical Gemara ve'ema hanevesh ha'cheles imenu that says avoyne tisa that's going to get karas zeu chutz l'mkayma. Maybe it's going to be chutz l'mkayma ulamutei chutz lizmani. Maybe chutz l'mkayma gets karas and chutz lizmani doesn't. So at the Gemara mistaber chutz lizmani adif the pasuk bay. More likely chutz lizmani. That was the first thing we said, right? Shlishi we said is chutz lizmani. So the first thing we said, that's the one that gets karas. The Gemara adarabah chutz l'mkayma adif the samachlei. We said that pigel. It says pigel avoin. Then it says avoyne yisa that he's gonna avoyne tisa. So it says immediately after it said pigel, which is a reference to chutz l'mkayma. So that's right next to where it says it's going to get karas. So maybe that's what it's referring to.
What's adifal you mean?
It's better, which is more likely to be the one that was saying gets the karas. So it could either be the first or the second. So the first one it's first. The second one is closer to where we said karas.
funny lashon. Almost a machmer.
Adif is which one is more likely in this context to be the one we're referring to? Adif means in that sense. Elama Abaya. Kiasar of Yitzchak. So we're still left with the question: why are we choosing to say that Chutz Lizmane is the one that gets karas? Kiasar of Yitzchak Bardimi Amarav Samech Adatani Tana. We were samech on what we learned. Like we said, there was that second pasuk. In Vayikra Yud. We just till now we've been analyzing the first pasuk, but it says again in the second pasuk. It says shlishi. We already had the pasuk that we've been working on, and now we have another pasuk that also says b'yom hashlishi. So why do we repeat ourselves? We're going to say that this second pasuk is a reference to Chutz L'Mkoyin. Since we already said Chutz L'Zman, so now we're going to say this pasuk is a reference to Chutz L'Mkoyin. So now we're going away from the way we had said before. We're saying the whole first pasuk is going on Chutz L'Zman, and now this second pasuk is talking about Chutz L'Mkoyin. It's not going to be both the. We're going to reject this shot in the end anyway. But at this point, we're saying maybe the first pasuk is talking about Chutz L'Zman, and this second one is Chutz L'Mkoyin. And then that second pasuk continues on, and it says noiser. It says it says that if you're going to be, it then directly references noiser. And it says, if you eat noiser, if you're going to eat, then you're going to avoyna yisa, and it's going to get karas. And it says, v'oichlav avoyna yisa, only the one who eats it, he's going to get karas. L'mutei chutz l'mkoyim. But the immediately preceding pasuk that we just said is a reference to m'koyim, that's excluded. So again, to set it up, at this point, what we're saying is the first pasuk, the one we had said before, is talking about chutz l'zmanai, and that gets karas. Says Avayna Yisa. I'm going to make Xer Shava from that to say karas. The second pasuk, which is a reference to Chutz L'Mkoyin, immediately after that has a pasuk that says when you eat noifer, that means not when you have a machshava to do something Chutz L'Zman, but you actually left over basar, and a person ate it after its time. The pasuk says explicitly that he gets karas, but it says oichlav Avayna Yisa. It's only on the oichlav, but not what we were just talking about, not something else. We say that must be excluding Chutz L'Mkoyin, which was right before that it doesn't get karas.
But it's indicating that it's going to get karas.
It says no. It says avoyne tisa. That's so we're going to see, as we're going to see, the Gemara is going to bring that's a Xer Shava from where we say that avoyne tisa by noiser says karas, so it's going to be also over here when it says avoyne tisa, it's going to be karas. But in the second pasuk, there's an exclusion that something is excluded from karas, so that's referring to Chutz L'Mkoyin. Correct the Gemara. Okay, well, what time is it? Okay, it's too late. We're gonna have to. I knew we're not gonna. We're well away from the end of this limud.